Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another journey of discovery together. I want you to take a comfortable seat, maybe grab a warm cup of tea, and let's explore something truly fascinating today. Picture this. Right now, as we speak, over 500 million people around the world are sitting quietly, breathing mindfully, and practicing meditation. That's roughly 1 in every 15 people on our planet. From busy executives in New York skyscrapers to monks in Himalayan monasteries, from stressed college students to elderly folks in retirement homes, all united by this ancient practice that Buddha taught us over 2,500 years ago. But here's what's really exciting, and what we're going to dive deep into today. Scientists in white lab coats are now peering into meditation halls with the same curiosity they once reserved for distant galaxies. They're asking a beautiful question. What exactly happens when we sit in stillness? What secrets does this ancient wisdom hold that we can now see with our modern eyes? It's quite magical when you think about it. Something that began as a spiritual practice in ancient India is now being studied in the most advanced neuroscience laboratories at Harvard, Stanford, and research centers around the world. And what they're discovering is absolutely mind-blowing. Quite literally. Today, we're going to take a gentle journey together through the landscape of meditation research. We'll explore how sitting quietly for just a few minutes a day can literally reshape your brain, boost your immune system, and transform your emotional well-being in ways that would have seemed like science fiction just a few decades ago. We'll discover why neuroscientists are calling meditation gym membership for your brain, how it can be as effective as antidepressants for some people, and why doctors are now prescribing mindfulness alongside traditional medicines. So settle in, breathe deeply, and let's uncover what happens when ancient Buddhist wisdom meets cutting-edge science. The findings might just change how you think about those quiet moments of your day. Now, let me take you back to a fascinating moment in history, the early 1970s. Picture a Harvard cardiologist named Herbert Benson sitting in his office, completely puzzled by something extraordinary. You see, practitioners of transcendental meditation had been approaching him, claiming they could lower their blood pressure and heart rate simply by sitting quietly and repeating a mantra. As a rigorous scientist, Benson was skeptical, but also deeply curious. So he did what any good scientist would do. He invited these meditators into his laboratory and hooked them up to all sorts of monitoring equipment. What he discovered would change everything. These practitioners could indeed slow their heart rate, reduce their oxygen consumption, and lower their blood pressure, all while remaining completely awake and alert. Benson called this phenomenon the relaxation response, and it became the very first scientific bridge between ancient meditation practices and modern medicine. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? Here was this ancient practice that Buddha had taught specifically for reducing suffering, and science was now confirming that it literally calms our body's stress response systems. But this was just the beginning of our story. As we moved into the 1980s and 90s, something revolutionary happened in the world of neuroscience. Scientists developed incredible new tools, functional MRI machines, advanced EEG equipment, and brain imaging technologies that could literally peer inside a living, thinking brain. Suddenly, researchers could see what meditation was actually doing up there in that 3-pound universe between our ears. Enter Dr. Richard Davidson, a neuroscientist at the University of Wisconsin who had become something of a pioneer in this field. Davidson had an interesting background. He'd actually learned meditation during his graduate studies and had always wondered about its effects on the brain. When the technology finally caught up with his curiosity, he began conducting groundbreaking studies that would show the world something remarkable. Meditation doesn't just make you feel different, it literally changes the physical structure of your brain. One of his most famous studies involved bringing Tibetan monks with over 10,000 hours of meditation practice into his laboratory. When these seasoned practitioners meditated while having their brains scanned, the results were so extraordinary that Davidson's team initially thought their equipment was malfunctioning. The monks' brains were producing gamma waves associated with heightened awareness and compassion at levels never before recorded in scientific literature. But perhaps the most significant breakthrough came in the late 1970s when Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, a molecular biologist who had been practicing Zen meditation, created something called mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR. Kabat-Zinn had a brilliant insight. What if we could take the essence of Buddhist mindfulness practice and present it in a completely secular, medical context. What if hospitals could offer meditation as a legitimate treatment? His 8-week MBSR program became a game changer. Suddenly, meditation wasn't just for spiritual seekers. It was for anyone dealing with chronic pain, anxiety, or stress. And because it was structured like a medical intervention, it could be studied with the same rigor as any pharmaceutical drug. This opened the floodgates. From just a handful of studies in the 1970s, we now have literally thousands of peer-reviewed research papers on meditation and mindfulness. Major medical journals publish meditation studies regularly, and some of the world's most prestigious universities have dedicated meditation research centers. What's really beautiful about this journey is how it represents a coming together of wisdom traditions. The Buddha, sitting under the Bodhi tree 2,500 years ago, discovered something profound about the nature of the mind and suffering. Today, scientists and laboratories around the world are confirming these ancient insights with brain scanners and blood tests, creating a wonderful marriage between timeless wisdom and modern understanding. Now, let's dive into what might be the most fascinating part of our journey today. What actually happens inside your brain when you meditate? And I promise you, what scientists have discovered is more amazing than any science fiction movie you've ever seen. Imagine your brain as a beautiful living sculpture that's constantly reshaping itself. Every thought you think, every experience you have, literally changes the physical structure of your brain. This incredible ability is called neuroplasticity. And meditation, it turns out, is like having a master sculptor working on your neural pathways every single day. Let me share with you one of the most groundbreaking studies that really opened everyone's eyes. Dr. Sarah Lazar at Harvard Medical School took a group of complete meditation beginners, people who had never meditated before in their lives, and taught them simple mindfulness meditation. These folks committed to practicing just 27 minutes a day for 8 weeks. That's less time than it takes to watch a sitcom. What happened next was extraordinary. When Dr. Lazar scanned their brains before and after this 8-week period, she found that several regions had literally grown thicker. The hippocampus, which is crucial for learning and memory, had increased in density. The posterior cingulate cortex, involved in mind-wandering and self-referential thinking, had strengthened. Most remarkably, areas associated with compassion and self-awareness had physically expanded. But here's the really beautiful part. While these positive brain regions were growing, the amygdala was actually shrinking. Now, the amygdala is like your brain's alarm system. It's constantly scanning for threats and triggers your fight-or-flight response. In our modern world, this ancient alarm system often gets stuck in the on position, leaving us feeling anxious and stressed even when we're perfectly safe. But meditation was literally reducing the size of this fear center, helping people feel more calm and centered in their daily lives. Think about this for a moment. In just 8 weeks, with less than half an hour of practice each day, these people had physically remodeled their brains in ways that made them happier, more focused, and less anxious. It's like meditation was giving them a complete neural renovation. Now let's talk about something called the default mode network, or DMN. This is one of the most exciting discoveries in neuroscience over the past few decades. The DMN is a network of brain regions that becomes active when your mind is wandering. You know, when you're daydreaming, worrying about the future, or replaying conversations from yesterday. While some mind wandering is perfectly normal and even creative, research shows that people tend to be less happy when their minds are wandering, especially when they're caught in loops of self-criticism or anxiety. Here's where meditation works its magic. Regular meditators show decreased activity in the DMN, which means less mind wandering and rumination. But even more fascinating, when their minds do wander, they're much quicker to notice it and gently bring their attention back to the present moment. It's like meditation trains your brain to be a more skilled navigator of its own mental landscape. There's also something beautiful happening with brain connectivity during meditation. Using sophisticated brain imaging, scientists have discovered that meditation strengthens the connections between different brain regions, particularly between areas responsible for attention and emotional regulation. It's as if meditation helps different parts of your brain communicate more effectively with each other, creating a more integrated and harmonious neural symphony. One of my favorite studies looked at the brains of Tibetan monks who had been meditating for decades. When these masters practiced loving-kindness meditation, where you cultivate feelings of warmth and compassion for yourself and others, their brains lit up like Christmas trees. in areas associated with empathy and positive emotions. But here's what's truly remarkable. Even when they weren't actively meditating, their baseline brain activity showed higher levels of gamma waves, which are associated with heightened awareness and emotional processing. This suggests that the benefits of meditation don't just happen when you're sitting on your cushion. They become a part of who you are. Your brain literally rewires itself to operate from a more peaceful, aware, and compassionate baseline state. But you don't need to be a monk with 40,000 hours of practice to see these changes. Studies have shown that even people with just 8 weeks of meditation experience show measurable improvements in attention, emotional regulation, and stress resilience. Some changes can be detected after just 2 weeks of regular practice. What's particularly encouraging is that these brain changes seem to be accessible to everyone, regardless of age. Studies with elderly participants show that meditation can help slow age-related cognitive decline and even improve memory function. It's like meditation gives your brain a fountain of youth effect, keeping your neural pathways flexible and resilient throughout your lifetime. The beautiful truth emerging from all this research is that your brain is far more changeable and hopeful than we ever imagined. Every time you sit quietly, focus on your breath, or practice mindful awareness, you're literally sculpting your brain in the direction of greater peace, wisdom, and well-being. The Buddha's promise of liberation from suffering isn't just spiritual poetry, it's neuroscience. Now let's explore something truly wonderful: how this simple practice of sitting quietly and breathing mindfully creates a cascade of healing throughout your entire body. It's as if meditation sends out gentle waves of wellness that touch every cell, every organ, every system in your beautiful human form. Let's start with something that might surprise you: your immune system. You know that amazing defense network that's working 24/7 to keep you healthy? Well, it turns out that meditation gives it a remarkable boost. Researchers have discovered that people who meditate regularly have significantly higher activity of natural killer cells. These are your body's special forces that patrol your bloodstream, hunting down viruses and even cancer cells before they can cause trouble. One particularly fascinating study took place during flu season. Scientists gave flu vaccines to 2 groups of people. One group practiced meditation for 8 weeks, while the other group didn't. When they measured antibody levels afterward, the meditators had developed a much stronger immune response to the vaccine. It's as if meditation had fine-tuned their immune systems to respond more effectively to threats. But here's something even more beautiful. Meditation appears to reduce chronic inflammation throughout the body. Now, a little inflammation is good when you cut your finger or catch a cold. It's your body's natural healing response. But chronic, low-level inflammation is like having a fire that never quite gets put out. And it's linked to everything from heart disease to depression to premature aging. When researchers measure inflammatory markers in the blood of regular meditators, they consistently find lower levels of these harmful substances. It's as if meditation acts like a gentle, natural anti-inflammatory medicine that your body produces from within. The Buddha spoke of meditation as medicine for the mind, but science is showing us it's medicine for the body too. Let's talk about your heart, that tireless muscle that beats about 100,000 times every single day. Meditation has been shown to be remarkably beneficial for cardiovascular health. People who meditate regularly tend to have lower blood pressure, and not just while they're sitting on their meditation cushion. Their blood pressure stays lower throughout the day. There's something called heart rate variability, or HRV, which measures how well your heart can adapt its rhythm to different situations. A healthy heart speeds up slightly when you breathe in and slows down when you breathe out. This subtle dance is actually a sign of a resilient cardiovascular system. Meditators show improved heart rate variability, meaning their hearts are more flexible and responsive, like a young tree that bends gracefully in the wind, rather than a rigid branch that might snap. One large-scale study followed people with heart disease for 5 years and found that those who practiced transcendental meditation had a 48% reduction in heart attacks, strokes, and deaths from cardiovascular causes. That's comparable to, or even better than, many medications. It's quite remarkable to think that something as simple as sitting quietly and repeating a mantra could be so powerfully protective for your heart. Now, let's explore your body's stress response system. When you're stressed, your adrenal glands pump out a hormone called cortisol. It's like your body's built-in alarm system. A little cortisol can be helpful, giving you energy to handle challenges. But in our busy modern world, many people have chronically elevated cortisol levels, which can lead to weight gain, sleep problems, weakened immunity, and even memory issues. Here's where meditation works like a gentle reset button for your stress system. Regular meditators consistently show lower baseline cortisol levels throughout the day. It's as if meditation teaches your body to return to a state of calm more quickly after stressful events, rather than staying stuck in high alert mode. Sleep is another area where meditation works its magic. Many people who start a regular practice report falling asleep more easily and experiencing deeper, more restorative sleep. This makes perfect sense when you think about it. If meditation is calming your nervous system and reducing stress hormones, your body naturally becomes more ready for the deep rest it needs each night. But perhaps one of the most encouraging findings is how meditation affects aging at the cellular level. You've probably heard of telomeres. These are like little protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes. As we age, these telomeres naturally get shorter, but chronic stress can accelerate this shortening. Remarkably, studies have found that people who meditate regularly have longer telomeres, suggesting that meditation might actually slow down cellular aging. There's also fascinating research on meditation and pain management. Studies with people suffering from chronic back pain, fibromyalgia, and other persistent pain conditions show that meditation can significantly reduce pain intensity and improve quality of life. It's not that meditation makes the physical sensations disappear entirely, but it changes your relationship with pain, reducing the secondary suffering, the anxiety, frustration, and resistance that often make pain feel much worse. What's particularly beautiful about all these physical benefits is that they seem to emerge naturally from the practice itself. You don't have to meditate specifically for your heart health or immune system. You simply sit, breathe, and cultivate awareness, and your body responds with this wonderful flowering of wellness. The ancient Buddhist texts speak of meditation bringing lightness to the body. And now, science is showing us exactly how this happens. Your body has an innate wisdom and capacity for healing, and meditation simply creates the conditions for this natural wellness to emerge and flourish. Now let's turn our attention to perhaps the most profound territory of all: how meditation transforms your inner landscape, your emotional world, and the very way you think and perceive reality. This is where the ancient Buddhist understanding of meditation as a path to liberation really shines through in modern research. Let's start with something that affects millions of people worldwide: depression and anxiety. In 2014, researchers at Johns Hopkins conducted what's called a meta-analysis, where they looked at 47 different high-quality studies involving over 3,500 participants. What they discovered was quite remarkable. Meditation showed effects comparable to antidepressant medications for reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, this doesn't mean meditation should replace professional medical treatment when it's needed, but it does suggest that this ancient practice offers genuine relief for mental suffering. What's particularly beautiful is how meditation works differently than medication. Rather than chemically altering your brain chemistry from the outside, meditation helps you develop an entirely new relationship with your thoughts and emotions. Think about it this way: depression often involves getting caught in spirals of negative thinking, while anxiety tends to involve getting hijacked by worry about future events. Meditation teaches you to observe these mental patterns with kind awareness. Like watching clouds pass through the sky of your mind, you begin to realize that thoughts and emotions are temporary visitors in your consciousness. They arise, they exist for a while, and then they naturally pass away. One of the most practical benefits researchers have documented is improved attention and focus. In our world of constant notifications and digital distractions, this is like discovering a superpower. Studies show that even short-term meditation training can significantly improve what scientists call sustained attention, your ability to stay focused on one thing for extended periods. But it's not just about focusing harder. Meditation actually changes the quality of your attention. Regular meditators show less mind wandering, and when their minds do wander, they notice it much more quickly and can gently redirect their attention. It's like training a friendly but excitable puppy. Gradually, your mind learns to stay present with whatever you're doing, whether that's having a conversation, reading a book, or simply enjoying a cup of tea. There's something called cognitive flexibility that's absolutely fascinating. This is your brain's ability to switch between different concepts or adapt your thinking when situations change. People who meditate regularly show enhanced cognitive flexibility. They're better at seeing problems from multiple perspectives, adapting to new situations, and thinking creatively. It's as if meditation lubricates the gears of your thinking, making your mind more fluid and responsive. Now let's talk about emotional regulation. This might be one of meditation's most life-changing gifts. We all experience difficult emotions: anger, sadness, frustration, fear. That's part of being human. But meditation teaches you how to be with these emotions without being overwhelmed by them or acting out destructively. Research shows that meditators have increased activity in brain regions associated with emotional regulation and decreased reactivity in the amygdala, that alarm center we talked about earlier. What this means in practical terms is that you become less likely to lose your temper, less prone to emotional outbursts, and more capable of responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. One study that particularly touches my heart looked at parents who learned mindfulness meditation. These parents reported feeling more patient with their children, less reactive during challenging moments, and more able to respond with wisdom rather than frustration. Imagine the ripple effects. Children growing up with more peaceful, present parents who model emotional balance and mindful awareness. There's also remarkable research on something called self-compassion. Many of us have a harsh inner critic that's constantly judging, comparing, and finding fault. Meditation, particularly loving kindness practice, helps develop a more gentle, accepting relationship with yourself. Studies show that people who meditate regularly score higher on measures of self-compassion and show less self-criticism. This might sound simple, but it's actually revolutionary. When you stop fighting with yourself internally, when you learn to treat yourself with the same kindness you'd show a good friend, it frees up enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy. You become more resilient, more creative, and paradoxically, more motivated to grow and improve, not from a place of self-judgment, but from genuine self-care. The research on empathy and social connection is equally beautiful. Meditation doesn't just make you feel better individually, it actually enhances your ability to connect with others. Brain imaging studies show that meditators have increased activity in regions associated with empathy and emotional processing. They're better at reading facial expressions, more attuned to others' emotional states, and more likely to engage in prosocial behavior. One lovely study found that people who completed just 8 weeks of loving kindness meditation showed increased feelings of social connectedness towards strangers. They literally felt more connected to the human family around them. In our often divided and polarized world, this capacity for natural empathy and connection feels especially precious. Perhaps most profoundly, meditation cultivates what researchers call metacognitive awareness, your ability to be aware of your own thinking processes. You begin to see your thoughts as mental events rather than absolute truths. That voice in your head that says, "I'm not good enough," or "this is terrible," you start to recognize it as just another thought, not necessarily an accurate reflection of reality. This shift in perspective is incredibly liberating. You realize you have choice in how you relate to your mental and emotional experiences. The Buddha taught that suffering comes not from pain itself, but from our resistance to pain, our stories about pain. Modern psychology is confirming this ancient wisdom. It's not what happens to you that determines your well-being, but how you relate to what happens to you. What emerges from all this research is a picture of meditation as a comprehensive training program for human flourishing, enhancing your ability to pay attention, regulate emotions, connect with others, and navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and resilience. It's like going to the gym, but for every aspect of your psychological and emotional well-being. Now, you might be wondering, with all these wonderful benefits we've been exploring, does it matter what type of meditation you practice? It's a beautiful question, and the research gives us some fascinating insights into how different meditation styles create their own unique patterns of transformation. Let's start with mindfulness meditation, which is probably what most people picture when they think of meditation. Sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and gently returning your attention whenever your mind wanders. Scientists have studied 2 main approaches within mindfulness: focused attention, where you concentrate on one thing like your breathing, and open monitoring, where you maintain a spacious awareness of whatever arises in your experience. Both styles show remarkable benefits, but with slightly different emphasis. Focused attention meditation seems particularly good for developing concentration and reducing mind wandering, while open monitoring meditation appears especially effective for emotional regulation and developing that metacognitive awareness we talked about, your ability to observe your own mental processes with gentle detachment. The research on mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, those structured 8-week programs we mentioned earlier, consistently shows impressive results for anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and overall quality of life. What's particularly encouraging is that these benefits tend to persist long after the programs end, suggesting that people are learning skills they can carry with them throughout their lives. Then there's loving-kindness meditation, which involves cultivating feelings of warmth and goodwill toward yourself and others. This practice has a particularly beautiful research profile. Studies show it specifically increases positive emotions, enhances feelings of social connection, and even strengthens areas of the brain associated with empathy and emotional processing. One lovely study found that just 7 weeks of loving-kindness meditation increased people's daily experiences of positive emotions, like love, joy, contentment, and gratitude. These positive emotions then seemed to build upward spirals. People felt more satisfied with their lives, more connected to others, and more resilient in facing challenges. It's like this practice waters the seeds of happiness that are naturally present in every human heart. Transcendental meditation, or TM, takes a different approach entirely. Practitioners sit comfortably with eyes closed and silently repeat a personalized mantra. The research on TM is quite extensive, with particular strength in cardiovascular benefits. Remember that study showing a 48% reduction in heart attacks and strokes? That was specifically looking at TM practice. What's interesting about TM research is that it consistently shows what practitioners describe as a state of restful alertness. The body becomes deeply relaxed, while the mind remains clear and aware. Brainwave studies show unique patterns during TM practice, with increased coherence between different brain regions. The beautiful truth emerging from all this research is that there isn't one best type of meditation. Different practices seem to offer different gifts, and what works best often depends on your personality, circumstances, and what you're hoping to cultivate in your life. Some people are drawn to the simplicity and universality of breath awareness. Others find great joy in loving-kindness practice, especially if they tend towards self-criticism or have difficulty connecting with others. Still others appreciate the systematic approach of TM or the structured learning environment of MBSR programs. What the research consistently shows is that regularity matters more than any particular technique. Whether you're following your breath, repeating a mantra, or cultivating loving kindness, the key is establishing a consistent daily practice, even if it's just for a few minutes. Your brain and body respond to the rhythm of regular practice, creating those wonderful changes we've been exploring, regardless of which specific path you choose to walk. Now, in the spirit of honest inquiry that good science requires, let's acknowledge that meditation research, while incredibly promising, still has some important limitations we should keep in mind. One of the biggest challenges researchers face is something called the placebo effect. When people sign up for meditation studies, they often come with positive expectations, and sometimes feeling better might be partly due to simply believing the practice will help. It's quite difficult to create a true control group for meditation. After all, you can't give someone a fake meditation the way you might give a sugar pill in a drug study. There's also wonderful diversity in how different studies define meditation. Some research looks at intensive retreat experiences, others examine brief daily practices, and still others focus on specific techniques like mindfulness or loving kindness. This variety makes it challenging to draw broad conclusions about meditation in general. And while we have many studies showing benefits after 8 to 12 weeks of practice, we could use more long-term research following people for years or decades to understand the sustained effects of meditation over a lifetime. Most importantly, while meditation can be incredibly beneficial for mental and physical well-being, it's not a magic cure-all. If you're dealing with serious depression, anxiety, or other health conditions, meditation can be a wonderful complement to professional medical care, but it shouldn't replace proper treatment when that's what's needed. Think of meditation as a beautiful addition to a holistic approach to health and well-being, not as a substitute for medical attention when circumstances call for it. As we come to the end of our journey together today, I hope you're feeling the same sense of wonder that I experience every time I dive into this research. What we've discovered is truly extraordinary, that this simple, ancient practice of sitting quietly and cultivating awareness can literally reshape our brains, heal our bodies, and transform our emotional lives in ways that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago. The Buddhist promise that meditation leads to the end of suffering isn't just spiritual poetry. It's now backed by thousands of scientific studies showing real, measurable changes in everything, from brain structure to immune function to emotional resilience. Modern science has become a beautiful mirror, reflecting back the profound wisdom that contemplatives have known for millennia. But here's the most wonderful part. All of these incredible benefits are completely accessible to you right now, exactly as you are. You don't need any special equipment, expensive memberships, or years of training to begin experiencing the gifts of meditation. So here's my gentle invitation to you. Why not start today? Begin with just 10 or 15 minutes each morning, find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and simply follow your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, beautifully and naturally, just notice with kindness and gently return to your breathing. Remember, consistency is far more important than duration. It's better to meditate for 10 minutes every day than for an hour once a week. Your brain and body respond to the loving rhythm of regular practice, creating those wonderful changes we've explored together. Trust the process, be patient with yourself, and remember that every moment of mindful awareness is a gift you're giving not just to yourself, but to everyone whose life you touch. As you become more peaceful, present, and compassionate through your practice, you naturally contribute to a more peaceful world. The science is clear, the benefits are real, and the path is open before you. Why not take that first gentle step today?